So I'm just picking these peas. I've got a lot of pods that are ready. They seem to be really happy here this year. And the birds have left them alone, which is really, really good. And I have noticed that the Kent Blue have got some pods on there now. So I shall pick these and I'll show you what I've got. There's been so much prep throughout the spring, so to actually get to this stage now is a real thrill. I've also noticed that the broad beans have got pods on now. They're not big enough to pick, but it's not that far away. Now, I came out earlier because I wanted some salad leaves, but I found some black fly, which made me think I ought to have a look at my broad beans. And I have found, I don't know if you can see this. Let me try and show you. I don't know if you can you see in there? So I'm going to cut out all the juicy young tips and hope that that will discourage them, because it is the young tips that they like. Oh yeah, I found some more. Let me show you this. I need to get right on top of this, and you might just want to do the same with yours. Don't want it to become an infestation. Now I want to show you the difference. So that still looks fairly healthy, but it's got a couple on there. Look at this, how it's all distorted, and look in there. So that's why you need to get rid of it. So that may have seemed a bit brutal, and I've cut all that off, but it's a precaution, because if you leave it unchecked, they will absolutely colonise each stem and it will get ruined. So they're going in the wheelie bin, and on to my next job. So I've got a whole list of jobs that I wanted to do yesterday and today, but I've been prevented in doing them because of the weather, because all it has done is rained. Now, I know we've said we needed rain, and we have. We had virtually no rain at all throughout the whole of May, and we desperately needed it, but not when I wanted to do these jobs. That's the difference. So I'm between showers. I'm going to see if I can get this done. Now, the problem I've got, this garlic, this is the germador, and that's topodrome, and it is covered in rust. And all the red onions are bolting. They've all got scapes on them, so they're just not going to grow anymore. So I'm going to cut my losses. I'm going to dig the lot up, see what I can save. I think with the onions I can chop them up and put them in the freezer. The garlic, I can remove the leaves that have got the rust on and let the garlic bulbs dry. And then I'm going to have a look at this bed. This is the brown onions, and they're in a sorry state as well. They're just not bulking up, so I think I'm going to cut my losses with those as well. And I've got a lot of brassicas that I need to plant out, so I think I'm going to put the brassicas in this bed and the cauliflowers in this one. So the sun's out, I'm between showers, there's a lot of dark clouds, but I'm going to see what I can get done. So let's lift the first garlic and see what we've got. Oh my goodness, look at that. Well, I have to say, that is rather fabulous. Oh, this is so exciting. I didn't really have that much in the way of expectation, but these look great. I think I might have mentioned before, when you're harvesting onions and garlic, don't pull them up. Put the fork in and ease the fork under the roots to lift them out, otherwise you'll damage the neck. God, look at that. These are great. Those are onions. I'm very disappointed in them. They had not very good root systems, and yeah, they're not big at all. So I'm just going to cut them up and put them in the freezer. So this is the topodrome. These are, they look like they're a bit mixed in size. Well, they're not very big. They've got thick stalks but very small bulbs. Oh, this one's split in two. Look at that. So I'm pleased with the germador. They're a really decent size. These are not so. Oh, that's not a bad one. It's quite a decent bulb. Oh, that's got a lot of roots on it. Goodness me. Oh, this is another split one. Look at that. It's just starting to rain just as I finish doing this bed, so I'm not going to get the other onions lifted probably until tomorrow. But this is everything that I've got now. So this is the topodrome garlic, the germador, and these are the red onions. They're poor specimens, but I shall chop them up and put them in the freezer so they won't go to waste. So in an attempt to catch up, I've just come out here. It's actually spitting with rain, but I've managed to take off all the top growth of the onions. Now, if you're new to growing, this is not, and I repeat, this is not how you harvest onions, but these have failed miserably. Now, I planted them out at the very end of October, so they've had at least 7 months to grow, and they have just not put on hardly any growth. Look at this one. 7 going on 8 months growth. Some of them have hardly got any roots, so I think that's the main issue, because they don't appear to have any disease. They've not got a single spot of rust, despite the other bed being really affected by the rust. This bed absolutely nothing. So whether these particular onions are resistant, that's good to know. They've not been attacked by the allium leaf miner or the flea beetle because the netting's done its job. So the only thing that I can see is the fact that it just hasn't, or they haven't produced a good root system, and I really don't know why. And I'm frustrated because I've been growing onions now, let me see, it must be 4 decades, and they were always successful, never had any issues. But the last 5 years there's just been problem after problem, and the harvest has just not been as good as it should. And whether that's to do with climate change, I really don't know. I know that we've got pests now that are widespread with the allium leaf miner and the flea beetle. That's something that I never ever experienced in the past. For decades I never used any netting on my onions, but now I can't grow them without. So it is really, really frustrating, but I'm going to get them out. I'm going to save what I can, but it's just going to be chopped up and put in the freezer. But I hope if you're growing onions you've had better success than I have. So yesterday I lifted all these onions and I've just prepared this bed. So I've put down some blood, fish and bone, I've worked that into the soil, and then I've pressed down the soil to make it as firm as possible, because when you grow brassicas they need to be in a firm soil. They don't want it loose because the wind will rock them and it will damage the roots and they won't grow. So they need to be firmly planted and stable. So I've got a couple of Brussels sprouts which are going to go in the middle. Now unfortunately, because I hadn't made up my mind what I was going to do about the onions, these are going in a little late and they're a little bit leggy. But this is the, let's make sure this is the right ones. This is the calabash, so I'm going to have 4 of those. One there and one there. I think they've been a bit stressed in the greenhouse, but once they go out I think they'll be fine. And then I've got 2 of the green kohlrabi. Right, okay. So I'm really happy with that. I mean, I don't have the space that you would have in an allotment to have rows of cabbages and rows of kohlrabi, lots of Brussels sprouts. So they're just samples really. But I'm on my own and it's enough for me. So I'm going to give these a good drink and then I'm going to cover them with a netting and then I'm going to move over and do the cauliflowers. I am so pleased that that job is finally done, and I'm even more thrilled that I was able to put in all 4 of the sprouts. So I've got 2 in the brassica bed and 2 in the collie bed. So yeah, really pleased about that. So I managed to get a few more jobs ticked off my list this afternoon. So I've put in 4 celeriac. There's a tomato just this side of the peas. And what I did notice is the meteor peas, they're producing loads of pods, but they were going a little bit yellow at the bottom. So I've just given them a really good feed with some liquid seaweed. Also, on one of the salad leaves, I found some butterfly eggs, cluster of butterfly eggs on a couple of leaves. So I've picked them off, and I've planted the squash. So I think that is it for today. So thank you for joining me. It's been pretty productive, although it's taken me 3 days rather than 1 to do most of these jobs. But let me know what you're doing in the comments, if you're planting out everything that you've got in your greenhouses and your seed trays, and what your plans are at the moment. If you're new to my channel, then why not consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care. I'm Annie, and this is my kitchen garden.